All right. Good afternoon. This is Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and the session is Round and Contra Intro. My name is Chris Pinkham. I will be the moderator for this event this afternoon. And on my right, Susan Morris, Washington, and on my left, John Herr, from Larkspur, Colorado, near Denver, apparently. And what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to just kick this off with a little philosophy, and then I'm going to turn it over to John and Susan. My approach to this whole thing is I do not cue rounds, so one of the things that I like to think about when I do something like this is I have a situation where I think that I'm looking at how I do this, and I think that my dances come in sort of three different categories. The first is a Western-style dance, of course, when you work with a cuer, and my feeling is that if I would like to do a folk dance at one of these setups, I will always ask the club people ahead of time. And you know as well as I do that there are purists in the industry, and they feel that if it's not a square or a round dance, it doesn't exist in their universe. So I will always ask if I am at a square dance to do a folk dance, and if it is possible, they'll let me do it. One time or another, it's been refused, so I'm not allowed to do it. But just to give you a quick anecdote, a few weeks ago, I was in New York, talked to the club ahead of time. Yeah, I'll get that, sure. There you go. Talked to the club ahead of time. They thought it was a great idea to do a folk dance. When I got back to my turntable, someone had left a note on the turntable that said, "No folk dances." Yeah, well, I turned it around quickly. I picked up the sheet and showed it to the dancers, and I said, "Dance is over." And they said, "What?" I said, "Well, as far as I know, square dancing is a folk dance." And the person that wrote the note was in the kitchen hiding at the time. So whenever I do a square, when I'm working at a square dance, I will ask if I'm given permission. I'll pick something simple, something that's easy to teach, something that people can identify with quickly. Second category, new dancer dances or class dance. I don't know what you call them around here, but we call them class dances. When I'm contacted about a class dance, I will ask that I am the only one on duty that night. And in deference to John here, I'll ask that there will be no cuer at the dance during the evening. And that will allow me to do a 2+1 program, 2 sets of squares, a folk dance of some sort, a contra of some sort, and then shift through the evening. Works very well. The reason I ask for that is that I feel that as a new dancer coming in, you're paying for a whole dance, but you only get to dance half the night. So my feeling is that why not be more inclusive than that and have everybody on the same plane doing the same thing without new dancers sitting out the night watching people round dance. I remember when I was a student dancer, I had the same feeling. I felt like I really only should have paid half the admission fee because I was sitting around for half the night. So I asked to do that, and when I am allowed to do that, it works out very well for us. People have a great time. I've rebooked class dances for several years in a row with that same format, with the same clubs, and it works quite well for us. The third category that I like to think about is the square dance party. I don't like the term one-nighter myself, but whatever you call them, this is a great opportunity to introduce folk dancing, square dancing, contras, whatever you like, to the mix. So it's been a good opportunity for me to introduce new stuff to people over the course of a one-nighter. So if all you've ever called is squares, then learning how to utilize contra and folk dancing as well as round dancing in your repertoire is going to be a great tool to have for you. I've found that when people start talking about timing and phrasing and whatnot, it may not be that critical at a one-nighter, but if you're great at that, it's going to make the taste and the feel of the evening feel that much better. So I recommend studying your material and possibly finding a mentor that will help you with that. There are people around that are quite skilled, way more so than myself. I totally feel that I have no original thought when it comes to this sort of event anyway. But there is so much material around, so much good stuff to look at, that it's very simple to find the material, and we'll give you some sources before the end of the day. Keep it simple, your dancers will be successful, And when you're doing this sort of event, don't overreach and don't overteach. Use plain English. Make sure that people understand what you're doing before you get going. And remember, a lot of the folk dances and contra dances are highly repetitive. So if people see a walkthrough first, very important, then it's going to give them an idea as to what they're going to be doing. Anybody that showed up at Clark's Zesty Contra last night, we did walkthroughs first. And that's standard fare for square dances, for contra and folk dances. If you look through your music, I'm sure you can find something that's interesting that you can use. But there are so many sources for excellent music. It's unbelievable. Sources. I like the CDP Journal when CALLERLAB was dealing with that. There's tons of great material there. Dancing for Busy People with Cal Campbell, Ken Kiernan, and Bob Howell. That is my Bible, to be honest with you, because there's so much material in there. It is a wealth of material. I don't even think that in a lifetime I will work my way all the way through the book. There's something like, 400 different dances in there or something crazy like that. So if you're just starting out now, you may have problems getting to the end of that. But the other thing that I do want to add is adding folk and contra to my repertoire has made me more balanced as a caller. It's made me more marketable as a caller, and it's given me a lot of fun over the years. And just one last suggestion, if you're going to be teaching or prompting contra, pick up one of these. Get yourself a really nice quality headset because it allows you to be on the floor. If you like to dance, it'll let you dance on the floor. I use this for teaching. It's a great system, and it works very well for what we're doing. With that in mind, I'm going to start with, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with Susan. Is that okay with you? No? Oh, you want to go first? All right, let's do this. I didn't know that. I wasn't privy to that. That's just fine, though. So anyway, I'd like to... Same skills? Okay. I'd like to introduce John Herr, and take it away, John. And I think we are plugged in here, correct? We all set? Okay. What do we need to do for you then?
1, 2. Okay, great.
Yes, good.
I don't like being separated from people. When I cue, I don't cue on the stage. I cue down here with the people. So, first question I have for you guys is, why are you here? We're talking about rounds and contra primarily. How many are here primarily because of an interest in contra? How many primarily interested in the rounds? Okay, so at least we have one. More than one. Okay. I came with a preconceived idea of what I wanted to show you, but I don't want to just do whatever I want. I'm more interested in knowing what you want. Do you have any questions, things you would like me to cover relative to introduction to rounds? And I'll handle that first. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I have planned, we'll cover that. Okay. Were there any other questions? Anything that you'd like me to handle? I saw that when you walked in. Okay. Now, by your agreeing, what do you mean? What is it? And do you want to? And you're my perfect candidate. I'm going to use you in just 1 second. What's your question? Okay.
Pardon me for just a second. When there is a question, John, we need to get it on the tape, so people will need to speak into it, give their name, and go from there.
I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Okay. That rule. Okay. I would like to address the question of how to include positions and stuff a little later. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do what I had planned then, because it's going to cover the 2 questions that we had. What I'm going to have you up here. You're going to learn how to cue right now. I make the claim that I can teach anybody to cue in 10 minutes or less. Perfectly. Anybody else want to challenge me? He just challenged me. Anybody else want to come up here and try it? I'm going to show you how. Come on up. It doesn't matter. Anywhere. Okay? So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play some music for the 2 of you. Are you a caller or partners? You're a caller. Okay. I'm watching. Okay. What we're going to do, I'm going to play some music. Now what I want you to do is I want you to count the beat for me. You first. Great. Your turn. Not you? Okay. That's the first thing I do when I'm teaching a brand new cue or how to cue. I got to find out, do they hear the music? Do they hear the beat in the music? That's step number one. So they all passed. So now we're going to go to step number 2. That's fine. Anybody timing me? Okay. You already, as callers, you already know that you have to say something ahead of. Okay? We're going to think in terms of one measure ahead. Okay? What we do is we write our cue cards so that we differentiate every measure by either a semicolon or a comma or some other kind of punctuation. So as you can see here, I have 2 commas after that cue of 2 forward 2s. That means it takes 2 measures. Okay? So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4 involved there. Okay? Got that? Okay? So now what we're going to do, we're going to start a cue on beat number 1. We're going to finish the cue on beat number 3. Okay? Now I'm going to show you how that's done. A little louder, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step, 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 step. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm stepping on 1 and 3. Got that? Okay? So if I'm going to give a cue, I'm going to start the cue on my left foot. I'm going to finish the cue on my right foot. So it'll be like this. Face, box, 2 forward 2s, twirl, 2. So on every one, I start here and I finish there. Got it? Okay? Okay. So let's try twirl 2, walk 2. I'll do it first, then you do it. Twirl 2, walk 2. Your turn.
Twirl 2, walk 2.
Twirl 2, walk 2.
Okay. We're halfway there. Next step. You'll notice I have 2 commas there instead of just 1 for that cue. That means taking 2 measures. So I'm not going to have a cue for one of those measures. If I give a cue that's 2 measures long, then I don't need to say anything until 2 measures have gone by, right? So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to say nothing. No. I'm going to say nothing. Here it goes. 2 forward 2s, say nothing. Face and box, say nothing. So if you see a blank, a comma with nothing associated with it, you do a say nothing. Ready? I'll do it first, then you do it. Music, please. Oh, I'm in control. 2 forward 2s, say nothing. 2 turning 2s, say nothing. 2 forward 2s.
Say nothing. You didn't tell us what that is.
You don't read abbreviations? You don't need to do that one right now. Just go back to the top. Okay? You're on.
2 forward 2. Say nothing.
You have to get all of that cue. 2 forward 2s.
Okay, here we go. 2 forward 2s, say nothing. There we go.
Okay.
Put the music on. Oh, okay. 2 forward 2. 2, say nothing. No, that's not right. 2 forward 2. 2, say nothing. say nothing. Okay. Start. 2, forward 2. Say nothing. 2, what's T-R-N-G? Oh, 2 turning 2s. I'll start again. 2, forward 2. Say nothing. 2 turning 2s. 2s, say nothing. Okay, I'll start again. 2, forward 2. 2, say nothing. 2, turn. 2, say nothing. Turn, what is it? Turn.
You got the idea. It's 2 turning 2s. Say nothing. Okay. Okay. So basically, if you see any cue card and you see commas with or without a cue, you know what to do. Now, the last step is do it like this. 2 forward 2s. Say nothing. 2 turning 2s. Say nothing. Face and box. Say nothing.
2 forward 2s. 2 turning 2s. 2 forward 2s.
We have a perfect cure.
Yeah, good. Your turn. 2 forward 2. 2 turn 2s. 2 forward 2. What's SLO? Slow open.
Slow open vine.
Is it? Okay.
So
Shouldn't have written it around dance code, John.
Yeah. Assuming you can read abbreviations, you just did it perfectly. Okay? What? Oh, they're running. That's right. So that's how we teach a cuer to cue perfectly. What we call this is the... Karen, help me. I just went blank. What do we call that zone? It's a twilight zone. Between beats 1 and 3, if you will always cue from 1 to 3, you will have perfect timing. And if you have a measure cue that is 4 measures long, then you will say the cue, say nothing, next cue. Okay? And that's very mechanical, but after you've done this for a few months, it will all smooth out, and they won't have a clue that you've learned how to do this in this manner. Okay? Now, how's our time? Am I done, or
John,
I have
you
more
have plenty of time, but one thing I think might be interesting to cover is if someone is interested in doing what you have just worked on, some suggestions for starter music or a pattern setup.
Okay,
or pattern
good. I
setup
had that written down, actually, and I didn't.
Okay.
Because we had a couple of questions here. First of all...
And if you have questions, let's walk the mic and we'll get it back to you.
Let's repeat your question, okay, on the mic.
What I would like to know, with my name is Real Caro from Summerside, Prince Edward Island. What I'd like to know, when you cue, I understand your system, but is it always 4 measures, 6 8s, or what? Like I just want to know what usually is the rhythm.
Okay, 98% of the music that we cue, I'll go down to 90%. 90% of what we cue is 4/4 timing. Okay? Another 9% is 3/4 timing, which is the waltz. Okay? So everything can be done the way we just did it, except the waltz is slightly different because you only have 3 beats. Okay? There is some 6/8 timing. Okay? And I wouldn't worry about that right now. Okay? Next question. You had a question? Now I've forgotten it.
Meg Ferguson from Saratoga, California. And do you cue on the beat or slightly before the beat?
So is your question answered? We cue between 1 and 3. if we cue between beats 1 and 3, the dancer will start that figure on beat 1 of the next measure. Any other questions? Okay, then I'm going to mention one other thing. When we start teaching rounds, we do not start with two-step. That is a very difficult rhythm. I do not recommend anybody start to learn the round dance with two-step. And you'll lose all kinds of members of your classes when you do. Instead, we have learned over the years, the best way to learn how to do rounds is to start with cha-cha. They love it. It's easy to do for them. And once they get it, all we have to do is take 2 steps out, and they're automatically doing rumba. Okay? So, for example, cha-cha, 1, 2, cha-cha-cha, 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. Change it to rumba, and it becomes quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. We just took 2 steps out, and now it's rumba. They already know the figures. The figures are the same in cha-cha and rumba. Now, what have they just learned? Quick, quick, slow. What is that? That's two-step. So once they get the feel of two-step, which came automatically, now you can teach them two-step and they will learn it very rapidly. Okay, so that is our suggested way. Now, if you want to teach waltz, what you can do with that is that you can teach the two-step and the waltz on the same night. Because you don't want to have a 2-hour teach on one thing. People's brains can't handle it. So they're maximum 1 hour on any rhythm. If you're going to have a 2-hour session, then teach two-step and then teach waltz in the second. They're both entirely different, and it won't mix up their brains. Now, you mentioned music. Basically, I don't really care. As long as it's instrumental and it's slow enough for them to start with. Just about anything will work.
Real Caron again. With music, regarding how many beats per minute, roughly?
I'm not very good at my MPMs and BPMs. I remember Bolero was about 60 MPMs. So that means two-step would be around, I think, around 80. Somewhere in that area. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember those numbers. But most all your music, if it counts like quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow, about that speed, is perfect. Anywhere in that, close to that. Yes?
I'm Karen Herr. Go with him. One of the things that we have found is that the music is important when you're teaching round dancing and doing introduction to rounds and things like that. It's got to be upbeat and fun, number one. Number two, it has to have a strong beat. It can't be just music you might enjoy, because as square dance callers, you guys all can hear the beat pretty well. But I cannot hear the beat, and most dancers cannot hear the beat at first. And round dancing is more important to hear the beat in than in square dancing. Because you can just kind of shuffle your feet when you square dance, but when you round dance, you've got to be on that beat. So it's got to have a strong beat. It's got to be one, and John mentioned instrumental. When you mix in words and vocal with it, it gets busy for the people to learn, and so they start listening to the words rather than to the beat. So you have to be careful with that piece. So that's just to tag on to what John was saying.
And incidentally, that also applies to your square dancing, doesn't it? I mean, you really want your dancers to hear the beat. Okay? And Karen can't hear it. So I don't play music that she can't hear. She stops me and says, get that off, get something else. Anything else?
Yeah, I do have a question. Okay. I'm just wondering, the 3 people were just up here, Alan and Rial and Juanita. Would it be possible for you and your wife to dance while these 2 or these 3 folks come back with this and work it that way?
Sure.
It's an experiment, but
sure.
That's what they're here for.
We can do that.
It may be an interesting experiment. And if we can decode your stuff here, then Rial might have a better time.
Okay.
It's just an experiment. Think about that.
Do we have the time for you? Okay.
We have
okay.
Tons
good.
Of time. We're good.
You want to come up and cue?
Sure, she does.
Okay.
She's a really good spirited
That's
woman.
slow open bind 4. Decoding is being written. Okay, and then 2 forward 2s. Forward maneuver. Pivot 2.
For the purpose of the tape, we are decoding round dance cues. So.
And walk 2. Now you see this bracket here? That says go back and start over. So as soon as you say that one, notice there's not 2 commas there, so that you're not going to say, you're not going to do a say nothing.
I'm just going to say, right?
You're going to say walk 2, 2 forward 2s.
Okay, so that comma just means nothing.
No,
nothing.
that.
It means.
Okay.
I know. Keep going.
Keep going.
Got it.
So
this means say nothing, don't do anything, don't
correct.
Do anything. Got it.
She's on her way.
Question.
Meg Ferguson, Saratoga, California. Is the cue sheet you're using, is that the same one that we get as dancers when they hand out the cue sheet? No.
You're asking me about the cue card? No, I make this from the cue sheet. If you notice cuers that cue from a cue sheet, from the original cue sheet, they make a lot of mistakes. They can make. Some of them can actually read a cue sheet very well, but most of them have difficulty. It's very difficult to follow. So I won't. Okay, so I always make a cue card from the cue sheet.
Okay, Juanita, Arizona. On this, the intro, it says wait 2, so I wait for 2 beats.
Don't worry about
Okay. Okay, because if I want to do this, just don't worry. Even if I'm learning or teaching, don't worry about it. Got it.
Okay. In order to do that, to do an intro, you're going to wait 2 measures, right? But you're always 1 measure ahead, right? So if you're 1 measure ahead, you're only going to wait 1 measure.
We'll go to part A.
Okay. That's another 5 minutes.
I was going to say that's going to be another 5 minutes.
Bob Van West from California. Would it be helpful if you cued it first, and then they can hear it, and then emulate what you've done?
That's a good idea.
I'll dance with your wife if you cue it, and then you can listen.
Thank you, Bob. That's a good idea. Good job. We're taxed on volume at this point. This is as much volume as you're going to get, apparently.
Okay, you ready? Here we go. If you listen to the music, you can hold it while I do it, okay? If you listen to the music, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to cue a part point because I'm only waiting 1 measure. Okay? 2, 3, 4. A part point. Together, touch. 2 forward 2s. Say nothing. 2 turning 2s. Say nothing. 2 forward 2s. Say nothing. Open bind 4. Say 2 forward 2s. Forward maneuver, pivot 2, 2 turning 2s. Twirl 2, walk 2, 2 forward 2s.
I don't know where they're at. 2 forward 2s. Slow open bind 4. 2 forward 2s. Forward maneuver. Pivot 2. 2 turning 2s. Twirl bind 2. Wait 2. 2 forward 2s.
You did it. That was excellent.
I had no idea what I did.
You did it. Good job. That was excellent. How about Rial? How about Ellen? Rial, come on up, man.
do you want me to? Slow, open, vine 4. Actually, we don't have to say slow. Just say open, vine 4. Okay? And twirl, vine 2. Do you want me to do it like I did it with her? Okay, so I'll start it off, and you take it away from me when you're ready to take over, okay? Apart point, together, touch. 2 forward 2s, say nothing. 2 turning 2s, say nothing. 2 forward 2s, say nothing. Open vine 4, say nothing. 2 forward 2s, say nothing. Forward and maneuver, pivot 2. 2 turning 2s, say nothing. Twirl 2, walk 2. 2 forward 2s.
2 forward 2. 2 turning 2. 2 forward 2. Slow open vine 4. 2 forward 2. Forward maneuver pivot 2. 2 turning 2. Twirl vine 2. Is it WK walk 2?
Okay. Now, quickly, did you notice he got a little off there? Okay. Did you notice why he got off? That's what's important here. Why did he get off?
Forgot to say nothing.
No, he was saying nothing. He did not use this. He was depending on this, and he didn't know which beat to cue on. That's why he missed it. Okay?
So
you
John,
see what I'm saying?
You're suggesting more body movement
when you first learn, you need to move the body. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very dramatic. And believe me, when you first do that with your dancers, and they know you're brand new, that won't bother them a bit because you're cueing perfectly and they're dancing perfectly. They're perfectly happy with mechanical stuff. And very soon later, you will change this to this, because you'll have it up here on how to do it.
I think John made a very interesting point in that when you watch a cuer at a dance, there is dancing involved and cueing at the same time.
Yeah, some of them continue to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a good habit to pick up.
After all, you really don't need it. But if they want to do it, that's perfectly acceptable. Dancers don't care.
Yeah. Name, please.
Bob Van West. A lot of the cuers that I work with actually are dancing the steps as they're cueing, and they're not on the floor. They'll say do a box, and they're doing the box as they're cueing. So, which is really cool because I've picked up a lot from them.
But that's actually harder. That's a harder way to learn. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? But if you want to learn perfectly quickly, you do what we just did.
Meg Ferguson again, Saratoga, California. If I wanted to cue a dance at club night, just one dance, how do I start taking the cue sheet that we have without your special marks on it? How do I start and practice, etc.?
Okay, when you get a cue sheet, and it's the standard, I don't follow the standard on my card, okay? But it is the standard to use semicolons to represent measures. So when you look at the cue sheet, you'll see the measure very distinctly with each semicolon. So if it says 2 forward 2s and you see 2 semicolons, then you're going to write on your cue card 2 forward 2s with 2 semicolons, just like it is on there. What the cue sheet has that you don't need is all the fine detail underneath. Okay? Now, who qualifies to be a choreographer? Anybody. And they can write the most wonderful and the worst dances you've ever seen. Okay? When you pick up a cue sheet, that's at your own risk to what you're getting. Find a popular dance that people are doing already. Okay? Get that cue sheet. Okay? Don't pick up some strange one. Oh, this sounds cool. Because you may end up with a nightmare.
Anybody else on this? Any other daring souls that want to come up and do that?
Okay, thank you very much.
That was great, John. Thank you. And you guys did very well on that. That was very cool. John, Juanita, Riel, very nice.
That was pretty good. That was 7 minutes.
I just needed the other two to show you how to weight one measure.
Oh, that's okay. That's why I have a short hair. All right. Well, now we're on to Contra. And the reason we decided to let John go first is because cueing around and cueing a Contra is very similar in that you have to cue ahead of the first beat of the measure. So I'm going to hand out or pass out. Okay, you take care of that. Okay, so I have a handout. We do a little different notation, and frequently it's square dance timing, so it's all 4/4. Square dance timing is 2/4, but our songs are in 8-beat phrases, 16-beat per part A, part B. So my question is, how many of you dance contras? How many of you have cued contras in the past or tried cueing contras? All right. So on the handout, I won't go through all the introductory stuff. Contra is a predecessor of square dancing, so you have a lot of similar moves. Do-sa-do, right and left through, ladies chain, half promenade. So it's moves that your dancers know already. The thing that's different is the timing. Our do-sa-do was just changed to 6 beats. In contra dancing, it's always 8 beats. Swings are given 8 beats in contra dances. Square dancers don't always take those 8 beats, and you just know they're going to stand there and look at you for a few minutes, but that's all right. If they get into swinging, that's one of the pleasures of contra dancing. So on the first sheet, you can see the notation, how you often see contra dances. And I use this notation. There's other notation. The older notation is part A, part A1, A2, B1, B2. And I, as a new caller, picked up Dancing for Busy People, which Chris referred to earlier. It's still available from dosado.com. So Tom Dillander, if he doesn't have it here, he has it back in Tennessee or Kentucky, wherever he is. Cal Campbell still has it. There's some over there. Okay. If it's not in your reference library, it should be. So this is the notation that they use. So, like your introduction, if your music has an 8-beat introduction, you wait until beat 6, 7, 8, and say, right now I have it on 7 and 8. Do-sa-do your corner, so that they can start the do-sa-do on beat 1 of the first phrase of the music. So you need to adjust your timing on how long it takes you to say whatever the command is. I've figured out how to say do-sa-do your corner, or they're already facing your corner. We'll say do-sa-do. So, since some of you haven't danced contras, I'd like to get a contra line up to show you how to get into contras, or into contra lines, because that's the most challenging part for square dancers, is when you say line up like this, what do you actually mean? So the first one, I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to make this be the head. Normally, yeah, I'll stand here. So we're going to be in a proper contra line. So I want all the men on this side. All of you can get up and dance. Come on. Okay. Okay. All right. Here, let's take a step down. I'm going to get feedback from the microphone. All right. So this is a proper contra line. The men are in the collar's right. The ladies are on the collar's left. Do any more people willing to dance a ladies' part? Oh, that's... No. No. Okay. We do have another one. All right. An easy way to do this for... Come on, John. Okay. If this John and Chris come face me, if you get your dancers in promenade around, pick this couple and just line up behind them as a couple. It's a standard square dance arrangement. The man has the lady on his right-hand side. All right? Turn and face your partner. You instantly have proper lines. Okay? So there's not that many proper dances that are really easy, so you're not going to use this that often, but it's a way to get people organized. From here, if you want to do the next formation is alternating boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. An easy way to do that is say hands 4 from the top. So in groups of 4, you're going to join hands and make small circles. All right? If you turn and actually face, so you're facing the person beside you, you will be facing up and down the hall. All right? Now, couple number 1s have their back to me. They're going to be moving toward the back of the hall. Couple 2s are facing me. They're going to be moving toward me. So couple number 1s change places. Just do a half sachet. Or just trade. So the girl is still on the man's right. Yeah. Now last night, if you were in the Zesty Contra, Clark Baker called this an 8-chain 8-chain through formation. Dancers aren't necessarily going to know our formations. You just know that. But turn and face your partner. Your partner's, in contra dancing, your partner's always across from you. Or, well, not always. In this formation, they're across from you. Be careful what I say. All right. So, now that we're in this formation, let's dance a dance. The other thing in contra is we always walk through the dance first so that people know what the pattern is. Because it really is a pattern dance. And you want them to know the pattern at the start, and you play the music long enough that they get the pattern and get the flow of the dance. This is really the wind in your face dancing. So, with your turn and face your corner, it's the one beside you, do, sa, do. Swing your corner, and you're going to face the back of the hall. So you have to when you give the command, you have to give them the command and tell them which way they need to face. So you're going to walk down the hall, wheel around, boys are backing up, come back, bend your line, circle left. How'd you get on? Yeah, circle left. In a small group of 4, he did it. All right. Oh, no. Actually, circle left all the way, but then I'll give you the rest of the command because they were figuring out boys and girls up here. All right, circle left 3/4. Then you should end up facing your partner, your original partner. Swing her. Face across this time. 2 ladies chain. Okay, Chris, you're letting me down. Star left. Star left. And you should be looking for a new corner, and you'll go back to your original line, and you have a new corner, and there's a couple off at the top, and the couple that was at the bottom is on. Now you should be looking at a corner. All right? When you come off, when the dancers come off the top or the bottom, just trade places and wait. It's 30 seconds. If you have a caller in your area or you do progressive squares, kind of a move on, you get to the wall, all you do is a California twirl, wait, somebody comes to you. It's the same movement. Well, sometimes that is. Sometimes they don't. All right. Another walkthrough? Okay. With your corner, do, sa, do. You have a new corner now. Corner swing, face the back of the hall. Promenade down, wheel around, promenade back up, bend the line, circle left 3/4. With the one you face, swing and face across. 2 ladies chain, star left. They don't know who the lady is. All right. Pick one. Okay. It's a new corner. And you'll see if you started at the back, you're almost to the top. Okay. Do you know who are the ladies? Okay. Perfect. And there's a couple off at the bottom now. So you just stand there, and I'm going to put the music on, and we'll dance it through a couple times. Okay. Let's see. We don't need this loud. They're going to go off? Yeah, you're going to do it one time, and then you're going to be off. Oh. I need John's cord. I'm going to unplug your thing. Don't need it as loud as keyword music. But maybe we do. Alright. Perfect. Corner, do, sa, do. Corner, swing. Face down, promenade. Wheel around, promenade up. Bend the line, circle left 3/4. Swing the one you face. Ladies, chain. Star left. New corner, do, sa, do. Corner swing. Face down, promenade down, wheel around, promenade up, bend the line, circle left 3/4. The one you face, swing, face across, ladies chain, star left, new corner, do, sa, do, corner swing. Face down, promenade. Wheel around, promenade up. Bend the line, circle left 3/4. The one you face, swing. Face across. 2 ladies chain. Star left. All right. That gives you a taste of getting on and getting off. And we're kind of crowded and not enough women. Okay, so that gives you kind of a feel of how it goes. So have any questions so far? It usually has to do.
You can blame that on me for one thing, but again, when you do end up at the bottom, you switch places to be able to stay in sync and in sort of a sequence to be able to move to the next person. I hope that helps.
Yeah, the other, last night in particular at the Zesty Contra, a lot of people were ending the swing and not, we always end with the lady on our right if we're the man. Pardon? Right, but a lot of people were ending the swing with the lady on their left last night in particular, and I think probably sometime if you forget if you're the man or the lady when we're same gender. It's like, which way am I going? So any questions so far? All right.
I think we need to take a look at the fact that we don't necessarily, a contra can be anything from circles to various other formations. It's not limited to lines, and we have proper and improper contras. And I think for people that are just starting this, I think a proper contra is the easiest way to start because there's a little less shifting sometimes.
Yes. And a proper contra would be like the Virginia reel. In your handout, there is a proper contra, barley and oats, that we can walk through real quick. If you want to get 4 couples up, we can walk through that.
Can we try that again? Come on down.
The other, in Dancing for Busy People, like the title of the talk is Introduction to Contra, but Dancing for Busy People is Contra, but it's also the community dance, which program that CALLERLAB established in 1988, which covers lots of dance formations. That's what I was thinking of. There's squares, there's quadrilles, which are a little more formal squares, contras, trios, mescalanzas, Sicilian circles, mixers, lines. It's all in this little book. So that's all part of the community dance, and it all can be used in your square dance program. I want you in proper, with men in that side looking at me, and ladies facing their partner. This is a proper contra. It's proper because, let's see if I remember the right thing. It's proper because men and women didn't dance with each other.
Exactly right. At one time, it was very improper for women to be dancing on the same side as men. So this was called a proper contra, with men on one side, women on the other, and never the twain should meet in any sort of undue manner. So that's basically the root for proper contra, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right.
Is that correct, Alan?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bob Van was. Is there a short answer to why they call it a proper duple or an improper duple? What does the word duple mean?
Duple means two.
Duple means two.
Two.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 couples. Okay, can we get 2 more? I want 4 couples. Let's see. Yeah, and there's no swinging in this one. So this is actually a good dance if you need to do genderless dancing, or you are doing a party dance and you have a lot of girls. Just let them all dance together. You have to rename the line. So I'm going to give the commands the men's line and the ladies' line. But if you have mixed genders, you say, the line that's facing the kitchen, the line that's facing the basketball hoop, or whatever, or name them something, whatever goes with the theme of your dance. So in this one, everybody's going to go forward and back. Now, forward and back takes 8 counts, unlike often in square dancing. Now, the men are going to make an arch, and the ladies are going to duck under. Go forward. Men arch, ladies duck under. Yeah, everybody has to go forward. Okay, everybody do a U-turn back. Long lines, forward and back. No, you don't have to go under together. Just raise your arms. Why? Yeah, they did. Wait, however, you can do it like you did it. Okay, now the ladies are going to make an arch, and the men are going to duck under. You can go under the ends. Everybody do a U-turn back. Now, couple number 1 right here are going to join hands and sashay down 8 steps. Slide back. And then I would say, face me at the head of the hall. Everybody face me. And you're going to peel off and follow them. At the end, they're going to make an arch. Everybody's going to duck under. Basic, right. Basic, everybody's face in, and that's the whole dance. Now, this is written as a proper contra with 4 couples because that's the time it takes. Now, if you're doing a dance party or class and you get 10 couples, you can break them up. Sometimes they all want to dance together, and so you just don't worry that much about the timing. Yeah. All right, let me put on some music. Okay.
Just a quick comment. What I found in the past is that when you get to like a 6-couple arrangement, it's a lot easier for everybody to make the arch because people want that turn. So I like to break people up into groups of 6 or groups of 4, and that gives everybody the turn of making the arch.
Right.
And one thing that I always explain ahead of time is that only 1 couple at a time, unless otherwise noted, makes the arch because everyone wants to make the arch.
Yes. And everybody wants to duck under. So it's...
You have to do one or the other at that point.
Right. Well, hopefully we're not talking about that at our dance parties. First night of class, maybe. Okay. All right. Forward and back. Men arch, ladies duck through. You turn back. Forward and back. Ladies arch, men duck through. You turn back. Top couple, sashay to the foot. Slide back to the head. Face, promenade to the end. Actives arch, others duck through. Forward and back. Men arch, ladies duck through, you turn back. Forward and back. Ladies arch, men duck through, you turn back. Top couple, sashay down. Let's come back. Promenade to the foot. Make an arch. Everybody duck. Forward and back. Men arch, ladies duck through, you turn back. Forward and back. Ladies arch, men duck through, you turn back. Top couple, sashay down. Come back. Promenade. And this is an easy one. Everybody remembers what the steps are. Forward and back. Men arch, ladies duck. You turn. Forward and back. Ladies arch, men duck. You turn. Top couple. All right, I think everybody's had a turn to make the arch. All right, good.
Just another quick comment. This proper setup is so easy for when you're doing like a father-daughter night and you don't want to switch partners. What you noticed is you always had the same person with you at all times. And for a father-daughter event or for a beginner dance party event, that's pretty critical. But that same dance that Susan just showed us, you can employ arm turns, do-si-dos. And the other thing that I would suggest, if you're on carpet for some unknown reason, and hopefully not, is instead of the sashay, I will say walk, 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 kind of like a basketball turn kind of thing, and then head back. It's a lot easier on carpet, but for older dancers, it's a lot easier on the knees and ankles.
Exactly. Good. All right. Have a seat. Oh, you're very welcome. But I want to talk about some of the places that I use these. In some clubs, there's great resistance to do anything but rounds and squares, and doing 10 minutes of a contra dance will take away from I don't know what. Well, coffee, it's the time square dancing or the time round dancing. But if it helps your dance program, I say do it. So the places that I use this are the first night of class. You know, you teach them 10 or 12 moves, and they're like totally frazzled. Put on a Sicilian circle that uses the moves you just taught. The nights, somebody just said in an earlier session, the nights when you say Alan Man left, and they go, you want us to do who with what? You know, they look at you like they've never heard of Alan Man left. You know, they're brain dead. Relax. Just put on a party dance that you would use at a dance party. The other, in our area, I'm from the greater Seattle area, and after 4 weeks of lessons, clubs start taking turns having new dancer dances. So that's a great time to, if they don't round dance, keep them up dancing more of the night. There's some clubs that the first party dance, they don't have any rounds. I do squares, and I alternate with trios, line dancing, contras like this, mixers, to keep them dancing the whole 3 hours rather than just half. After that, the round dance cuer does a couple of mixers. So you can work, if you have a round dance cuer you work with all the time, you can talk to them and see if they do. I don't know if you do mixers. To keep them dancing more of the night. And the other thing that I think is a real benefit is it exposes them to more of what's available in our dance arena. If they go to nationals, you know, there's square dance halls, there's round dance halls, there's clogging halls, and there's also a contra hall. They can try it all. And it might, I think it enriches the activity rather than takes away. But that's my bias, because I enjoyed it. Now, at the end of this handout, I have some resources. One is the Dancing for Busy People, which I showed you. The other is the community dance journals that Chris referred to. They actually are on the CALLERLAB website, and it tells in here how to find them from the home page. The other that we talked about that Juanita referred to, the Beginning Dance Party Leader Seminar, is Saturday and Sunday before CALLERLAB starts. There's going to be one next year on the Saturday and Sunday. Then we have a community dance Sunday afternoon as people are arriving. That's a great way. That's where I found out about Dancing for Busy People. Most of my dances have come from those, and it's a ton of fun to dance them. Then the other is the Lloyd Shaw Foundation has dances and music on their website. The Kentucky Dance Foundation I put on here, but I found out since Stu Shacklet that runs that is ill, so we don't know if you can actually get stuff from there yet. I'll put that on that thing.
Okay, Alan Riggs. I'm also a board member of the Lloyd Shaw Foundation. But contact the Kentucky Dance Foundation. Stu Shacklet's daughter, I can't remember her name offhand, will try to respond to you. Let's keep Stu and I think it's Mary in our thoughts and prayers. Their health is not very good right now. Yeah. But there is going to be decisions being made about all the information available through the Kentucky Dance Foundation. The archives, the Lloyd Shaw Foundation archives are based at the special collections at the DU Library, Denver University in Denver. And you can go in there and get special permission to go in and do research and stuff. The website is lloydshaw.org.
Yeah, that's in my handout.
It's a really good site. Non-members' music can be downloaded. There are over 600 pieces of music. You can download it as a non-member. I think it's $1.50 a piece and 75 cents a piece if you are a member. and you can become a member by going on the website.
Yep. It's a good organization to support.
Real Caron from Prince Edward Island. Question for the two of you, for John and Susan. If you want to be a cuer as well as a caller, which I am, do you need two different types of programs? I notice cuers have a program that they use, and callers, or how do you work this out?
Oh,
A computer program, yeah.
Okay, I will talk first. I don't do a lot of round dance cueing, but I do have round dances so that I can cue them when I need to or am asked to. I just have them on my regular square dance program. Because I use a Mac, mostly I have my music in iTunes, and I just play them on DJ, and I just, we just recorded, it's like 24 round dance records that I can do.
There is like this, the callers have programs that you run off the computer. We have a very similar program, Dance Master. That's not a CALLERLAB program. That's an individual's program, so we can't promote it or anything. I'll just let you know it exists, okay? I personally am against those programs, and I'll tell you why. For the very same reason. Well, I'm for the program for the music, okay, but not for the cueing. For the same reason I went and stood up there. Because if I have a monitor telling me here that I have to read to cue, then I'm taken away from my dancers. And my dancers, everywhere I go, they love the interaction because I'm an entertainer. Okay? I can't entertain very well when I have a monitor there that I'm reading from. Okay? So that's one of my beliefs.
And I would second that because there's a lot of round dance cuers in our area that set their monitor up like this, and they're like this, and the whole floor could sit down, and they would never know. And I think, going back to the theme of our convention, that's entertainment. When you can work with your round dance cuer, if you do that all the time, to do your program so that their music is not dragging yours down, which is an issue in our area right now. You playing all this upbeat music for square dancing, and then they put on a really quiet, slow, whatever. So if you work with a round dance cuer and with your new dancers, add some mixers, add some contras. It's just more entertainment for the dancers, which is our whole goal.
Since you brought that up, Tony Oxidine came into CALLERLAB, and he showed us a little chart. He says, I start off at this level, and I grow, and then I come back down, and then I go up all the way to the top. With the idea of teaching round dance cuers, they should work with the caller to do the same thing if you know what their program is. I do that. Very few cuers do. We keep asking them to do it. But I'm going to tell you one event I went to with Larry Letson, a big weekend, and I didn't put one single waltz on all night. I didn't dare do it because he started here and his program went there, and he didn't lose a single square all night. He kept them all. And so I made sure I did the best, the most fun, the most exciting dances in my repertoire all night long.
I want to do a dance with you sometime then. That sounds good.
Yeah, that's
well, we've all had those plateau things where you go up, cuer's here, and you try to go up again, and the cure is still right here. So I appreciate your comment on that. Any other questions? I want to thank everybody for coming in this afternoon. And just look at some of this source material because there is a wealth of material, recommended music to go along with it. And as Alan said, to join the Lloyd Shaw Foundation is a great thing to do to support the cultural end of this. And thank you very much for coming in this afternoon. We appreciate your time very much. And don't forget, it's all about entertainment, right? Good job. And the other thing, I just want to end by saying thank you to Susan, but I want to thank John because I thought what you did with Juanita and Real was really cool. That was definitely a fun thing to do. I was almost ready to do that myself. Another few minutes and that would have been good. But thanks again. And you too. Good job on that. Very good. Give yourselves a nice hand.